This is Rockin' with Jam Man. Is with Jeff Rouse. What's up, man?
Not much. How are you, Jim man?
Not really, just enjoying life as it goes, you know?
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
Congratulations on your new song, Digging in the Dirt. Congratulations on that.
Thanks, man.
What made you to cover this song? What made you want to cover this song?
Well, so like when we are recording records and stuff, a lot of times I put on I make a Spotify or Apple Music playlist to kind of listen to like when I'm commuting back and forth to the studio, just to kind of give me inspiration and kind of just kind of get me in the mood and give me a vibe for the day. And that was always on a playlist that I had. And so when we got to the end of the recording of the record, just thought I kind of threw it out to Keith here and to Don, the guy that plays drums and produced the record, like, hey, why don't we give this a whirl and see if it kind of works? And kind of when we were done, it just turned out perfect. So we thought it was a great addition to the EP that's coming out.
You made it your own way, very harder than the original, and sounded awesomer. Very good.
Thanks, man.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, inherently I like to put big guitars on choruses and stuff like that. So and that song lent itself to kind of being a heavier kind of thing anyway. So thanks, dude.
You're awesome. You still got that puppet?
Oh, the puppet. Keith, this is Keith, by the way. Keith has the puppets right now. I can't wait to get the puppet.
I just got back from California and I have a box full of puppets.
Have a puppet?
Yeah.
A little puppy action or pup.
Yeah, exactly.
You should sell them as merch. You should actually sell them. Make your own brand of puppets.
Hey, you know what? That's a really good idea.
You can even make Keith. You can make you.
Yeah, we could make a Jam Man puppet.
Oh my God. I would love that.
Saying?
Can I get a free one because it's me?
I would think that's probably part of the deal, right?
Yeah.
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 Dude, you got some great pictures behind you there.
My dad. Yes, thank you. My dad took them, by the way.
Really?
Yes.
I mean, I see like Bob Seger, Tom Petty, Marilyn Manson.
Your dad's a pretty well-known photographer, right?
Yeah, he does the same thing as me. He does.
Yeah, and you do photography as well, right?
Yes. It was actually one of my first things. He actually took. It was the Rolling Stones. We went to this Rolling Stones concert, and then he just let me take some pictures. So he just gave me his phone, and I just took pictures because I was so little. I was this little guy, and I got all these good pictures because everybody was. I could see people jumping around like, I got the good picture. I didn't. My dad actually thought they were so good. He put them on their own website.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Amazing. That's amazing. Good work.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. This is off your new album too. You have some pretty big names giving you praise. Pearl Jam and Guns N' Roses. How do you know those guys?
Well, I mean, so we live in Seattle. And the cool thing about Seattle is it's a big city, but the music scene kind of still, regardless of how big it always seemed to feel, it was a pretty small group of people. I think if you just are persistent enough and you're around long enough, you kind of tend to start bumping into people. And I met Duff about 22 or 23 years ago. He would, when he wasn't in Guns N' Roses, he moved back to Seattle and went to college. And he would go out to shows and I kind of met him then. And then he made a record and asked me to be the bass player in the band. So that was Loaded. And that's how I met him. And then I met like Mike McCready, who put out the 7-inch of You're Perfect here a few months ago. I met him maybe 15 years ago. I can't really quite remember, through a mutual friend of me and Keith's, this guy, Gary Westlake. I lived in a house and we would have a lot of jams at our house, like just barbecues and jams and stuff like that. And Mike wasn't on tour. Yeah. And so I just met him through that, and we became friends and started playing music occasionally together when he wasn't on tour or I wasn't on tour. And Keith probably has a different story about Mike McCready than I do, though, a little bit.
I met Mike and Duff both through playing with a singer here in Seattle named Stariana.
Mhm.
And beyond that, Mike and I had our kids were in a dance class together.
Yeah.
So knew him through there as well.
Yeah.
What is it like working with Duff? What is it like working with him?
It's fantastic. Duff is, regardless, the short answer is it's really easy and amazing working with Duff. The long answer could be for a whole other podcast in general, but it was really it's been a blessing in my life to have to know him as a friend, but to be able to have played music with him and kind of learned so much about how to be and how not to be in a band, and how you treat people, how you treat fans, how you treat an audience when you're playing, regardless if it's 5 people or 500,000 people. Duff's the real deal, and he's punk rock, he's honest, and he's just a great. It's been a real pleasure to play with him.
And he actually, I met him, I realized way back in the 90s in LA when I was in a band. We recorded at his home studio, and he was very gracious to let us do that. And he's just always been, him and Mike both are some of the nicest guys in the world.
Yeah, they're very supportive of musicians and music and the art and the process of all that stuff. And I think they both realize how blessed and lucky they've been in the success that they've had. And I think it's a testament to them how much they give back to people like us and to many other people that we know.
Does Loaded have any new music coming out?
Nope.
I guess just nope.
No,
Not for now.
Nope.
Yeah, no, not for now.
Nope.
Loaded has always been kind of one of those things. It kind of exists between timelines of the people involved. So, when we first got together, Duff was going to college, and we kind of got together to go play some shows in Japan, and it was so much fun. It turned into another thing, and it kind of stopped when he started doing, well, the band stopped playing and recording kind of when Velvet Revolver started. And that was with, him and Slash and Scott Weiland and Dave Kushner and stuff. And then when that kind of stopped, we kind of started again, and kind of stopped again when he was doing the Walking Papers. And then it kind of started again. And now it's just kind of stopped again now that Guns N' Roses is out ruling the world and doing all that. So it exists for when there's time to do it, and it'll always be a thing like that. It's there's not the pressure of, there's not some big record label or the pressure to feel like we need to do things when time isn't permitting us to do so.
I guess Duff might be a little busy with his other band.
Pretty busy. He's a busy guy. Yeah.
Busy. So tell me what happened with you and Fozzy. It was announced you were the new member in September 2014. Then you got on the tour in 2015. Could you explain what happened?
Well, I was so blessed. I met those guys. We were all doing a tour with Metallica in Australia. And when you're on tour, you kind of stay in the same hotels. And long story short, I met those guys, and they needed a bass player. The bass player that they were playing with couldn't do a tour. So I jumped out, and I wasn't busy. I think that's what was Duff doing. Maybe that was when he was doing the Walking Papers thing or something like that. And so I hopped out and did that. And I think the press and people made it sound like I joined the band, when in all actuality, I was just out playing bass with them. I wasn't really probably an official member. And they're kind of the same kind of thing. Chris Jericho, I love those guys, an amazing band. Chris Jericho's a genius, but he was also, he obviously is a wrestler. So they're kind of don't do stuff when he's out wrestling. So we were kind of in between tours. And then I think a tour got announced that they were a Fozzy tour in England around the same time that Loaded we got an offer. Loaded and Slash and the Conspirators and Gilby Clark's band got offered to do a small tour of South America. So they were both at the same time. So I kind of needed to make a decision, like, well, am I going to go with Fozzy or am I going to go with Loaded, the band I've been in for 20 years? So they found another bass player to do that, and I went and did the Loaded tour. It's super simple.
Well, thank you for explaining and not saying it how as the media said it, that you like actually joined it. Thank you for.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. Was Jericho tough to work with?
Nope. Not one bit. Probably one of the easiest people I've ever worked with, actually. He is an encyclopedia of rock and roll, loves rock and roll. And to be out on tour with him is so fun. I mean, he just loved, every night, he's a professional. No matter what Chris Jericho does, he gives 1,000%. So, playing shows was fun, staying up late at night after a show, listening to Kiss and Van Halen and screaming and, going into crazy truck stops. And, there was not one thing about working with him that was hard.
Like if you didn't play right on the song, he would just come over and suplex you or
no, not too much. No.
Or not the suplexing like you think, or just take the bass and just whack it over your head.
Yeah, the funny thing is I didn't grow up watching wrestling very much. I of course knew Chris Jericho was a wrestler. But I kind of really met him and knew him as a singer in a band. I knew he was a wrestler, but like I said, my introduction to Chris Jericho was on a tour and he was a singer in a band, and I didn't really ever see him wrestle. So it was really crazy for me to get out on the road and see so many, like there would be more wrestling fans outside the bus than music fans, like Y2K, was it Y2K or some kind of Chris Jericho chant. It was a eye-opening experience being around that many wrestling fans.
What? When you said Y2K, that sounded familiar. I don't remember. Y2K?
I think it was one of his wrestling chants, like around like Y2J. I don't remember what it was. Y2K. I don't remember. Like I said, I'm not a wrestling fan, but there was crazy stuff that would happen every night with wrestling fans. It was cool.
What's up to the Glorious Lonely? What's up with the Glorious Lonely?
Whoa. That was a precursor. That band was an in-between me being on tour, precursor to the Guessing Game, which was a precursor to the Gemini affair. So To the Glorious Lonely was myself, Sean Zeller, who was a drummer with me and Keith in a band called The Guessing Game. Gary Westlake, who I mentioned a few minutes ago, who was in The Guessing Game, played bass in that band, actually. And my buddy Davey French, who is the guitar player in Everclear, who also plays occasionally with us in the Gemini affair. It was just one of those things where, like, I was not touring a bunch, and I've always liked to write songs. So I got together with some friends so we could write a few songs and play some shows. And I think really that band didn't really take more steps because Davey's a pretty busy guy with Everclear. And right around the time he was busy kind of going out with Everclear after that band is when I met Keith and another amazing musician from Seattle, Kathy Moore. And we started playing in this band called The Guessing Game.
Now, are you playing any shows?
The Gemini Affair?
Yes.
Yeah, not at the moment. By the I would say, Keith, probably by the beginning of next year is when we're going to start firing up.
Yeah, we're looking into some options for 2022, possibly late winter and early spring.
Yeah.
So that's otherwise we're kind of staying out of the fray for a little bit.
Yeah, you guys are acting like, pretty smart and just waiting until 2022.
Have you been to any shows?
No, I'm being safe.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I'm not vaccinated, and it's just that it's not gonna have the right feel to it. So I'm just gonna wait till 2022 and wait till
That's what we feel too. But we're lucky enough to be old enough to be vaccinated.
it just that yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's smart, man. I think, that's the same thing we felt. We've had conversations about it, and I understand, and God bless all my friends or other people that want to get out there and play and stuff, but we've just felt like we just hold off until things feel comfortable and right.
Everclear, is it Everclear, the official band AARP? Does that make you feel old? Does that make you feel old?
God bless them. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not in Everclear. We've played with I didn't know that. That's amazing. Whatever. Everclear's a great band. They have killer songs. Art and Dave, like all those guys are amazing. So,
I
whatever.
just saw that the other day. Good for them.
That's super funny.
Good road in.
I love it.
But it's also crazy how many bands are getting COVID. It's also pretty crazy how many bands,
Yeah. You see it every day, right?
Yeah, you do it every day.
Even,
big bands too.
A lot of big bands. I mean, everyone has to, I think everyone realizes how many people a big touring band really employs and how many people you have to try to keep safe in some kind of bubble to make sure they don't get sick. That includes merch people that are at merch booths dealing with thousands of people. And then you have to go to catering. Then there's other people that you don't work. I mean, it's a hard thing. And, people, it's a crazy.
It's hard to keep everybody healthy on the road pre-pandemic.
Agreed. Right.
Yeah. But let's just wait till it kicks over in 2022. Let's just see what happens,
Yeah, man. I agree. Yeah.
I don't know if I'm really gonna be going to any shows this year. I really think not. I might go on vacation, but that's really it. Yeah, I might. Yeah. Well, the planes are opening up, and this is gonna be my first time being on a plane. And me and my family have been planning on this for a very long time. So
where are you going?
We're gonna be going to Disney.
Nice.
We're going to go to 3 locations, or is it 4? 3. We are going to go to Disney, then Universal, and then what was the other island called? Sanibel.
Oh, down in Orlando, down in Florida.
Yeah, we're just
awesome.
That's really fun down there.
Yeah, it is. That's funny. Like one of my funnest. You were talking about Fozzy. One of the funnest shows I ever played with them was at the house. I think was it the House of Blues at Disney in Orlando. I played there a bunch of times with Buck Cherry and Fozzy and stuff, but there was a Fozzy show that we played there that was nuts. And I guess I got to walk around Disney a little bit, but I've never really been able to explore that. I love Disneyland. So I always kick myself that I haven't had enough time there. But
I took my kids there a while back. It's really fun.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And also now wrestling fans are some of the weirdest people out there.
Sure. I mean, man, there's weird people everywhere.
Our old drummer, Sean Zeller, from the Guessing Game, was a big wrestling fan.
He sure was.
And he's pretty weird. No, he's a great guy.
Yeah.
Did any wrestling fans come to the shows and hold signs up, like at a wrestling show, demanding you got to play Freebird, bro? Everybody's just free back.
There was fans at every Fozzy show. There was wrestling fans, and I would say probably there was always signs. I don't remember seeing Freebird, but wrestling fans are passionate, man. They, people that love wrestling, I would have to say more passionate than rock and roll fans.
Can I also tell you something? Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
What's that?
I'm just gonna tell you this one story.
Okay, please.
Literally go psycho over wrestling. Some people like it's life. Some people like that. Mm-hmm. So one time we went to the show and we got lucky and we got these tickets to like where the wrestlers would come through and you could give them handshakes.
Oh, sure.
This guy wouldn't. Okay, so, and we asked the guy politely and he said, no, he wouldn't fit, but I know I would fit because I was really small back then. Uh-huh. He was just a hardcore wrestling fan. That's all I got to say. They're more passionate than any single fan in this world.
So basically, basically you're saying some adult, you're just
Adult.
want to squeeze in there and give up hand five or high five or do something. And this guy was just like, nope.
Nope,
Yeah.
you're too small. He's like, he won't fit.
Yeah.
That's silly.
And we
That's
almost
lame.
got kicked out because got into a little argument. We could say I gave him the 1 2, just gave him the 1 2. Just bow down.
I
There you
love
go. That's right. Get him out of the way.
Yeah.
Should grab the chair.
Exactly.
Knocked him with it.
What do you think about Live Nation and AEG saying you have to get the vaccine if you are playing? What do you have to?
Whoa.
I think they also have an option of showing a negative COVID test as well within a week or something like that. And I'm all for that in terms of keeping everybody safe at this moment in time.
Yeah, I agree too. I think we live in a crazy time, and there's a lot at stake for bands, fans, and companies that invest, millions of dollars to try to get these tours to happen. And it only takes, a couple wrong missteps and everything, everybody loses. The fans lose out because they bought tickets and they can't see the shows. The bands lose because they can't go on tour. What's that?
Or they get COVID, the fans.
They get COVID.
Yep. Yeah. And so there's not really anything set in place to, everyone's kind of going day by day. So, regardless of how you feel, I think, these people, companies, bands, they're all working with people's best interest at heart. So, for now, that's the way it's going to be. And that's it.
And those tours cost a lot of money to start off. And if something shuts them down, they haven't had a chance to even make their money back, much less make, money beyond that.
Yeah.
So it's a risky gamble for a lot of people.
Yeah, it's pretty risky to tour now.
Yep.
Yeah.
What is your favorite memory from playing a show? What is your favorite?
Keith, you got one?
I do have one. I have a lot of great memories. Oh, gee, that's actually now I have two. I'll give you two quick ones. One was walking on stage and Danny Harrison, George Harrison's son, just grabbing me in this big hug, who I had never met before, and telling me how awesome the show was we just played. It's a little disarming. My other favorite memory is playing a reunion show with the band I was in LA, and the lead singer had rigged up a lot of special effects, one of which was a thing that created a giant smoke ring that went out over the audience. And the first time he set it off, there was like this hush over even though we were playing a song, there's this huge hush, and everyone in the audience was just like watching the smoke ring go over. And it's kind of just one of those moments in time.
That's so cool.
The smoke going over.
Yeah.
I guess my two is Loaded was on a really, God, I don't remember how long of a tour. It was on a really big tour, but we were doing one leg of the tour with Motorhead in Germany. So we were playing a good couple weeks with Motorhead, and I think it was the second show we played with them. I was up on stage watching them sound check. As soon as they were done, Lemmy came over and we were chatting with him and his bass tech, and we were talking about his sound, and Lemmy's like, "Hey mate, here, play it." And so right then they put Lemmy's bass over me, and I got to walk out on stage and play Lemmy's bass through the loudest bass amp you've ever heard in your life. And it was so cool, and he was such a gentleman, and there's only ever going to be one Lemmy. He was amazing. And maybe my second favorite show, I've just so many, but the first time I went to Japan, it was the first time I'd ever been on stage with Pyro. And it was the first time I'd ever played in an arena. So, and I think there was a good 25,000 people there. And the whole thing was just like goosebumps, curtain. It was, I had been playing for a long time and playing in bands, touring in a van and playing clubs, big packed clubs, but I'd never played a packed arena. And pyro and smoke and flames and all that stuff. It was just amazing. And Japan's kind of, because of that, probably still to me is my favorite place to play and one of my favorite countries to visit. It's absolutely amazing.
What is your worst memory from playing a show?
Go ahead, Keith. You got one?
Well, I have a plethora of coming unplugged stories.
Mm-hmm.
That's always not pleasant, but it happens a lot. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't had too many horrible experiences.
My
There's
worst.
one time I stepped off stage onto what I thought was a platform, but it turned out it was a bunch of guitar cases packed together, and they didn't exactly hold me. So I did quite a dramatic fall, which was very entertaining, I heard from people in the audience.
Of course you did. I think mine is I had played the Download Festival, which is a big festival outside of London. And I had played it maybe 3 or 4 times, and finally we got to the point where we were going to play on the main stage, because there's 3 or 4 stages. We had played the smaller ones, which were still crazy and huge, but we graduated to an Saturday afternoon on the main stage at Download, which is probably a few 100,000 people. And a little thing about those kind of festivals is what we all musicians call throw and go, which is basically you don't get a sound check. You basically, when it's your time to play, they throw your gear up on stage, your techs kind of make a couple sounds, and then they go, all right, you're on. And you just like cross your fingers and hope that everything goes okay in front of hundreds of thousands of people. Well, that whole show, for some reason, my amp kept on cutting out off and on and off and on and off and on the whole set. And it was so frustrating because it was such a big show and I had been looking forward to it. Well, also at these festivals, they have cameramen. You've seen, big screens on the TVs. So there's always a cameraman filming that. Well, there was a cameraman filming our drummer behind my bass amp. And every time he'd move, he'd step on my power cable to my amp and pull it out a little bit. So my whole show was basically messed up by a cameraman. And it sucked. I was so mad. It was the only time, I think, in all my years of playing shows that I actually lost my temper and screamed at somebody that was working at a show or a venue or anything like that. It was probably not my proudest moment, but I was so mad.
I could be, dude. I would. He'll be lucky if the only thing I yelled at him. That's just.
Maybe I need to hire you as my tech or my personal assistant or something.
Yeah, exactly.
He'll be lucky.
Yeah.
I yell at him. If I even oh my god. Okay,
Yeah.
now let's go.
I see a future job here.
Rough.
Yeah.
What is next for you?
We're gonna probably film and release another video. Our EP is coming out very soon. The number 2, our second EP. It's actually called 2. It's coming out soon, next month or so.
Soon, yeah. We might release. We're considering whether we just put it all out or if maybe we keep releasing singles and then have it assemble all together at the end.
And we'll probably film another video, and we're talking about starting to record some more music. And like we were talking about earlier, we're gonna probably just be probably not playing shows till the beginning of next year, end of this year. So we're gonna use this time and keep releasing songs that that we've been doing, that we've already recorded, that are coming on the EP, and working towards the next one.
How do my followers start following you? Where do they go to? Your website, stuff like that?
All the places.
Good question. Yeah, they can follow us on. We do have a website, the Gemini Affair. If you look it up, it'll basically give you all the links to all the other places. So Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, all those. Any social media.
Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You can get links to buy cool merchandise.
On Threadless.
Yep, you can check out our videos on YouTube. All kinds, just all the stuff. We're everywhere.
Our label, who we're thrilled with, G4L, is another place you can find us.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you for being on my show, man. I hope the next time we talk is at the backstage of one of your shows, dude. Peace.
And we're going to have you busting somebody's butt because of something that went wrong, for sure.
Dude, thanks for having us.
No.
Thank you.
I really appreciate you guys for coming on here. I really
Pleasure talking to you, man.
Thank you, man. Peace. Have a good one.
Bye, guys.
Devil on. Bye.
Yeah.